The biggest successes for the University System of Georgia with the TS3 Equity HIPS project probably has been with our efforts to work up taxonomies and to connect those to banner implementation. Partly because I think to get really powerful change, we have seen that it's necessary to convince the entire audience, all stakeholders, whether it's faculty, it's leaders, students, parents, convince them that there's something that needs to be done. And I believe making this connection to banner through the types of taxonomies that can show that we are actually leading towards student engagement and better work for students, better success. I think will give us in the long run the kind of data we need to prove that case. And that way I think for Georgia, it'll help us expand, but I believe it could help us expand beyond Georgia and have something that other systems can scale as well. They'll have something they can use their own data, or maybe they could refer first to ours and then use their data to be more convincing. Taxonomies can really take really a range from what you would call sort of a rubric to a full taxonomy. And in our case, they really are meant to be taxonomies to help folks who maybe don't know. First of all, they may not know that what they're doing is a high impact practice. And we see this often with instructors that are very committed and they're very concerned about student engagement. So they create methods to make that happen, but they don't necessarily know to call it a high impact practice. Another way is someone who is working on something like service learning or study abroad or study away or capstone for that matter. And they may have some ideas for how to implement that have arisen organically from their class, but they may not have thought about all the ways they can implement that. So also the taxonomies can show them other types of initiatives that fit within that type of category, let's say. I hate to use category because it really goes beyond that, but in certain ways service learning does have some things in common with other service learning. So this can help them understand that they could probably go beyond what they've already thought, maybe think a little bit more, think a little larger. But I would say the taxonomy is a way of breaking down the concepts into understandable chunks that can be addressed by a real human being who's trying to implement it. That's the broad, not technical kind of explanation that I think most faculty would probably relate to the most. If we start talking, Bloom's taxonomies in their cases, I think many of them will glaze over and wonder, why am I doing this? This isn't my field of study. But I think they can relate to student engagement. The momentum approach is the overall way of doing business here in Georgia now. I don't even call it an initiative because one of the biggest issues we've had from the beginning is to avoid or to ameliorate initiative fatigue. And I think anybody who is doing this kind of work will know exactly what I mean. There's so many initiatives. If a school is tasked with, now we need to work on high impact practices, we need to work on our relationship with the Department of Education and P through 12, we need to work on our efforts to enhance equity for students of color or for students who are low income, for example. They'll see these as different initiatives and it can become very nerve-wracking. So we don't even look at this as an initiative. This is our simpler way of doing business. And momentum in effect means that we are using data-driven principles that have shown nationwide to enhance student success and completion. So for example, students coming into their programs already having what I would call a meta major or a focus area. If they don't have one, they're given one. Now it can change for them, but they're given something, so there's some direction from the beginning. In addition, those students we encourage them to complete 15 credit hours per semester and 30 in the first year. to take their gateway math and English courses in the first year and succeed in them. Because if they don't, that can create the kind of pileup you could see, for example, on an interstate. You don't get those courses done, there's a pileup and you can't register for other things you need. And then the goal of graduation within a reasonable amount of time, whether it's 4 years or 6 years, is reasonable. It's not going to be achievable. So then in addition, also having a growth mindset. So that's why we do mindset research here in Georgia, to find out which students have that understanding that, yes, I can succeed. I do have the ability to do this work and to move forward, versus those students who say, I don't even know why I'm here, or I'm here because I'm being forced to be here, and I just don't think I can make it. And there are some other elements to momentum, but those are some of the key elements for getting students. The goal is so that the students get on a path, stay on a path, and then complete, because they've stayed on that path, within a reasonable amount of time. And that's not just for the student's benefit of say, time, it's also financial. Because we know from copious data that if students can use their Hope Scholarship, their financial aid properly, they can get through, even if they are, say, low-income students, they can get through and complete this, and then they have a degree, and they can use that degree however they want to use it, but very often it's for financial security and for career advancement, But if they go through all of this, and they've collected 100 credit hours, but they're still nowhere near on the path to completing, they're very likely to be those students who drop out, stop, and they have massive student debt and no degree to show for it. So the idea of momentum is to make certain that does not happen.